Hello, everyone. My name is Graham Parham. I'm with Highlands Mortgage on the Parham Team. Today, we're going to talk about something that all investors need to know about is management. When they buy an investment property, who's going to take care of it for you? Are you going to do it? Is somebody else going to do it? Preferably somebody else, because I'm sure you probably have a full-time job. So today I've been graced with having Elisa James. She is the general manager of innovation property management in Florida. I have management companies all over the country that I work with, but I particularly like this one here for many reasons. Mainly because I just recently hired them last year, and it's been a great experience. Say hello, Alicia, to everybody.
Hi, hi. Thank you for that welcome.
I've also got my production partner, Aaron Stelly. He's going to be a participant in this. And we're just kind of going to run through a series of questions. And the reason why I'm doing this is because back, I don't know, probably spring of last year, I was having some issues with a property manager on some properties that I own down in Florida. And I decided to sit down on a Sunday afternoon and come up with the right kind of questions that I felt over years, because I've owned properties for close to 18 years, been working with investors for over 25. So had a chance to look at the good, bad, and the ugly when it comes to the property managers. So I sat down on a Sunday afternoon and I banged out all these questions. And then I looked up online and shot an email to Lisa, and she responded lickety split on a Sunday afternoon. I couldn't even believe it. And so she captured my attention right away. So, but since then, we've also, plugged and played and got our properties with her. And some of her subordinates that take care of my properties have been wonderful. It's been a great experience. But this is a very, very important key to people owning real estate. You have to have the proper management, okay? Because buying the asset is one thing, that's 50% of the way, but you still have to manage it. If you buy an asset and it sits empty, obviously you lose money. You buy an asset and you get the wrong tenant in there, which is going to destroy your property, you're also losing money. And if you don't have anybody that's taking care of you and have the management tools and have the proper personnel to do that, your property is going to fail. You're going to get disgruntled. You're going to sell your property. And you're going to get out of property management or get out of property ownership. So today we're just going to kind of let Aaron kind of run through the list that I put together, and Alicia's going to kind of comment a little bit, and we'll just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the introduction, Graham. Excited to kind of go through this mock interview, if you will. But yeah, let's jump right in. So right from the get-go, I think one of the most important things here is, so Lisa, what areas do you cover, and do you actually have people on the ground in those markets as well?
All right. Well, thank you. So yes, we cover a majority of our coverage is in Central Florida. However, we do cover from Cape Coral, which is the West Coast, all the way over to the Space Coast, which is on the East Coast. And we have offices in each multiple locations throughout those areas. And yes, we do have property managers as well as additional staff located in those locations as well.
Let me explain further what she means about having property managers. A lot of organizations that have geographic spread out, similar to what Innovation does, they may have a central location, their corporate headquarters. They may have an individual that's considered a property manager, which they sit at their desk 24/7. They answer questions through emails. If the tenant leaves the property, they have to go get re-rent the thing, get whatever kind of staff they have to go to renovate the property and the whole 9 yards. Lisa's company has feet on the ground, which means she knows that tenant. She knows, if they are a good tenant. She does periodic inspections. She'll drive by. She's in the area all the time. This is some of the things that I personally was looking for, because having people sitting behind a desk to manage your property sometimes is not the most cost effective to the landlord, or should I say cost effective to the people that own these properties. But go ahead, Aaron, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Graham. The biggest takeaway there is that they've actually got boots on the ground in your property's area, and not several miles or markets away. So jumping back to the list, of course, a hugely important question that a borrower would want to consider is, what is really the average monthly percent that you charge to manage your properties? What am I looking at as far as a management fee percentage wise?
So for our management fee, we are pretty basic. We charge 10% of the monthly rent collected, which means if there's no rent collected, we still do our job, but we don't get paid unless you get paid.
Awesome. And while we're on that kind of similar topic of cost, what about renewal fees for current tenants? What's your renewal fee?
So right now, the average renewal fee is about $350
Awesome.
for the renewal fee.
Let me share with you a little bit I've experienced over the years, and those numbers will vary quite a bit from one management company to the other. Some on just an initial tenant, they'll charge anywhere from 50% all the way up to almost 90%. And on a renewal, they'll charge, once again, 50% up to 70%. So I've seen both extremes, but what Lisa's outlined is very economical. I think it's very fair.
And what about marketing, Lisa? So how do you market? How do you get tenants into these homes so we avoid that dreaded vacancy? What do you use besides maybe MLS or something like that? What are the ways you market to these tenants?
So we also we use multiple online ads, Google ads. We do Facebook Live. We do quite a bit of social media, as well as every major rental site you can think of. Hands-on as well. We word of mouth in the area. We put flyers out. We also post signs as well.
What about any like property showings? Do y'all ever do anything like that?
Yeah, so property showings, yes. If somebody shows interest in the home, whether they call us, email us, reach us online, however they locate us, yes, we physically do physical showings. So we will meet you there, walk you through it, answer all your questions to make sure you're comfortable and that's the house, the right suit for you as well.
That's great. That's great. So what type of properties do you kind of manage as a whole? Are they mostly single family, or you have multifamily, some commercial mixed in? Tell me about that.
So majority is single family. We do have some multifamily and of course some commercial. However, majority is single family properties and homes.
Awesome. Let me see here.
And that's a plus, by the way, the majority of it being single family, because that's the okay. And me as an investor, that's all I've got are single families. And if I'm working with a company that does 50% commercial, 50% residential, makes me kind of wonder where my emphasis is going to be. So having a company that does the majority of them single family is a plus.
Yeah. Agreed. So what about deposits? What are like your normal deposits, and kind of along that same line, do you require pet deposits as well?
All right. So our normal deposits are equivalent to the 1 month's rent.
Sure.
That's the equivalency. And then for pets, we do charge a fee for the owner. It's not a deposit, it's a non-refundable fee. And it starts at $300. And we also charge a pet rent for the owner as well. But yes, that fee is non-refundable.
And who holds the deposit? Is that something that your company kind of helps hold on to?
Yes, it's an escrow. Yes, that is. Yes, we do. For the rental deposit, yes, the pet fees, that goes directly to the owner.
Yeah, most of the deposit for good management companies will set the deposits or any available extra cash into an escrow account that's non-interest bearing. So keep that in mind. Some management companies will stick it to their account. They won't tell you if it's interest bearing or not. And of course, they'll collect the interest on your money.
Thank you.
What about a reserve for the property if some catastrophe to arise? Do you guys keep a property reserve as well?
We do. We typically ask for $250 for property reserve. However, we cater towards the owner. So if the owner has a preference and says, I prefer $350, I prefer what have you, it's what the owner prefers is how we accommodate.
Awesome. Flexibility there is what I'm hearing, which is great. That's great. So how long are your typical leases within your management group? What's your typical lease timeline? Are we looking at a year and a half, 6 months?
12 months is the typical lease. Yes, 12 months. We can do a little bit shorter. However, in order to provide you the maximum savings as far as taxes are concerned, we prefer a 12-month lease.
Awesome. Some knowledge in that regard too, which is great, helping protect us. So what about if I do choose to begin, will I have kind of a go-to rep, a designated person managing my properties? Who will I know to go to if I've got questions, need answers? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so yes, each home, each property is assigned a property manager, and that property manager will know the ins and outs of the home, of your preferences, and you will have full access to them via phone, business line, cell phone, email, chat service, however. Yeah, so you do have a direct contact. In addition to you will also have my information, and as you see, I'm even available on Sundays.
Yes, she's extremely, extremely responsive. I'm not sure if she was just bored that day or what, but she got my attention.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
on that same topic, I would assume that same quality of service would be extended to the tenants as well, and that they would have access to that manager kind of round the clock, if issues were to arise.
Yes, so we also have an answering service. So if there is an emergency, which addresses the emergency immediately, for whatever situation may arise as well.
I just recently had an occurrence with another management company that managers should identify health and safety related issues, okay? Heating, air conditioning, water, hurricanes, whatever that come through. Those are health and safety related issues which do need immediate response. But I had this one that the dishwasher went out on Sunday. Well, they identified that as being a priority. So they hustled up a dishwasher the next day, went and put it in. And then they told me 3 days later, oh, we bought a dishwasher and here's the price for it. Okay, so my question to you is, let's just say there wasn't a sense of urgency and we had to replace an appliance, whether it be a refrigerator or a dishwasher or stove, whatever. When you purchase those for the landlords, you keep the receipt. Do you actually register those with the warranty, or do you just send the receipt or you put it in your portal, so to speak, have all the paperwork? Because what I've run into a lot is if you like buy a refrigerator, well, you want to register that with the manufacturer, so at least you get a year warranty out of those. How do you handle those, Elisa?
Okay, so first off, for a weekend emergency, it would have to be an emergency. We would also, for anything over the reserve amount, we would reach out and get owner's approval first. But for an appliance replacement, so depending upon what it is, usually if it's a refrigerator, microwave, stove, those type of appliances, either us or the provider, the appliance company that we're using, will assist us with ensuring that it's registered. Perfect. Between the two of us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually beat us to it, so we try to catch it in the end.
That's great. That's great. So what about the screening process for new tenants? What are kind of your requirements? Outline that for us a little bit, and what are you looking for when you're helping screen a tenant for our home?
All right. So the law allows us to check 7 years of history. So we will check their credit, we check their employment history, we check employment history, the credit, to ensure there's no criminal history. We also verify residential, as much information as we can gather to see that they have at least 7 years of continual payment and no financial type issues, because we want to place somebody that's going to treat the house like it's theirs and to pay on time. That way we're all happy. Yeah, so we do a very thorough background check. The way each of us look at it is, if we would not place them in, if we own the house, would we want them in our house? Would I invite them in my personal house? And if there's a hesitation, then it usually helps you say, let me dig a little bit deeper. Let me look further. We do have requirements. requirements such as a specific credit score, no felonies. They have to be at their employment for X amount of time. They have to make at least 3 times the monthly rent. So we do have a nice little list of requirements that helps us ensure we place a good tenant.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and certainly gives confidence as the landlord. Hearing all those things are vetted through and accounted for, and that's great to hear.
You know, I
Go ahead,
want
Graham.
to add a comment to that. We're coming into some difficult times right now with the economy. And Lisa, I'm assuming that your 100% occupancy has slipped a little bit like everyone else's. But I don't think that you sacrifice or compromise the fact that the market's a little soft right now to put people into the property. I've seen too many management companies, some personnel in the corporate location, and they plug and play. Okay, let's just put this person in. Okay, then they destroy the property. I had a management company that I made a change last year. They did the inspection, walked in, looked at how the person was treating that property, and that individual says, I'm not going to re-up the lease next year because I don't think they're treating the property well. That just blew me away, truly. And I'm sure your staff would do the same thing. I know Zarima would do that exact same thing.
Yes, she would. Yes, you would. Yeah. So yeah, we don't want to just put anybody in your home. To us, if the owner's not happy, nobody's happy. So we want to ensure the owner is happy by having somebody that's going to treat it properly, and someone that's going to pay on time, and somebody that is want to stay even longer. So yes, we don't just place someone. We want the in the long run, we want what's best for everybody.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So speaking of rents, how do you determine your monthly rents, for any given house? What's kind of your baseline for determining that? And once you do kind of come up with that number, is that something that you clear with the owner before you present that to the tenant? Tell us a little bit about that aspect with your group.
Okay, so for the rental rates, we compare the rentals in that area, and we've got quite a few rentals, so we pretty much know each area what the going rate is for that size of a home. We will try to get the most rent for the home as possible. However, we don't want that home to sit on the market over $50. We would rather, come to you and say, would it be okay? Can we mark it down $50 so we can go ahead and get it rented? But we do get the owner's permission and the owner's input as we give suggestions and allow the owner to give us the approval or not.
So Lisa, and that's great. I love the fact that that's how you do it. And that's where most good management companies will do it. They'll go through their sources and determine what the average market rent is, discuss that with the landlord, and let them say, okay, it looks good, or can we take it up 50%? The last 3 or 4 years has been a little challenging, if you will, because it's been all to the benefit of the landlord because the rents have been going up and up and up. Yeah. Are you seeing some of those rents in the Florida market starting to stop or flatten out, or is it still going up?
Thank you. Actually, it has stopped and it's flattened out. It's not so much as it's not lowered any, but it has came to a happy pause right now. So no, it's not continuing. It's not raising anymore in the last 4 months, I'd say.
Okay.
That's great. So what about like property inspections, when tenants are living there? How often do you guys check in the property, at any given amount of time just to make sure it's, all hell's not breaking loose inside? Is there any kind of protocol or procedure for that just to make sure the home is still in kind of good livable shape kind of year after year?
Yes. So of course we do a move-in inspection. We do multiple inspections. We'll from the beginning, we start with a move-in inspection. Then the tenant moves in. At that point, we provide them a self-inspection. They have about the first month to complete that self-inspection. Closer to the 6th month of them being there, then we do try to schedule another in-person inspection. We do have a team in each area that goes out, as well as the property managers, to do these inspections. We also have runners in all the areas that do drive-bys. They drive by, make sure, you know, the trash cans are put up, make sure the grass is being cut, that nobody's parking on the grass, just to check it. If we feel that, or if you feel, or we feel at any point that we need to check it a little bit closer, then we do so. If we think they have a pet, we will check, we will look in the cabinets, we want to know. And each of our inspections are recorded. So they are all either in a video or in a pictures, which way we can turn over, and the owners receive that as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, multiple layers there protecting the landlord throughout the year. That's great. The drive-bys, videos, that's awesome. So what about like a portal to kind of help keep track as an owner? Is there something that, you know, that we'll have access to, that we can kind of, you know, as a home base for all of this?
Yes, you actually have 24/7 access to our to an online portal. And in that portal, you will see work orders, payments, documents, pictures, leases, everything and anything you would want is all right there. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and you decide, you know what, hey, Laura, what did that lease say? Well, it's right there. It's at your disposal. So yes, at any point, you have full access.
And I assume if there were any contractor invoices, anything like that, that would be the go-to place to find them as well.
Everything. Yes, everything is placed in that portal for you. There's nothing hidden or put to the side.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what about if we do happen to run into like an eviction type of process, what's kind of standard procedure with your management group, you know, if we were to run into something like that?
All right. Well, of course, we try to avoid those. If we notice that a tenant is having some difficulty, we will do our best to see what resources are available to get them back on their feet. If that has been taken care of, or that's not an option, then we take care of everything. We have attorneys on staff. We take care of all of the court visits, what have you. We do the physical evictions. Like, we show up, we're there. And most of the time I show up as well too, to make sure that everything is taken care of, but we do it as if we were you. Yes.
Gotcha. That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the bulk of the questions that I had for now, Graham. I don't know if you wanted to sprinkle.
No, I have one about the assistance. I know in a lot of markets around the country that they're providing, or the government or whoever, whatever municipality is providing assistance to the renter these days, because, you know, we're experiencing some hard times. You know, they're last couple of years have been issuing checks to people that are not working. They're also helping people to make sure they can, you know, keep their rent up. Do you run into that a lot down in the Florida market, or no?
Not very often, no. But if the need is there, if that tenant is encountering health issues, or, you know, related to that, then it is available, but we don't encounter it very often.
And that probably goes hand in hand with the quality of the tenant that you put in your screening process. That
Yes,
has a lot to do with it. And so
that is correct.
Yeah, that's the great thing. Well, you know, I'd like to kind of finish up and tell everybody what I decided to do last year. Is that once again, I've been managing or own properties for 18 years, and I've got several, and I really just trusted the management company to do their job properly. And then I woke up one day and I said, all right, there's 3 things you need to look at: it's trust, education, and ask. Okay. And a lot of times when I'm looking at some of my management companies, I would not trust on the front end. I would ask the questions, And then I would get answers, then I would trust. If you trust the management company, that's the most important thing, that they know that they're going to do their job properly. You don't want to have to constantly second guess them on whatever kind of moves they're making or whatever kind of tenant they're making, repairs. You just want to get a confidence level there. And sometimes it's very, very difficult to do with management companies because they're not as transparent as like Elise and her group is. And so just, be prepared when you're interviewing these managers, because if you get a bad manager, it can, be a very difficult thing for you. So I would like to just kind of share your information. Elise, if that's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share this screen here. If I can find my share screen, here we go. And this is Elise's information. As you can see, she's in several markets here. I personally like the one in Kissimmee. That's where most of my properties are. But she covers a pretty good geographics, and she's got people on the ground on all those areas. And Elise, if they need to call you personally, is the information of the Innovation Rentals good, or do you have a personal email, or how do you recommend?
It's my personal email, which is the elisa@innovationrentals.com, comes directly to me at all times.
And I apologize, I didn't put the corporate number on there. What's your corporate number?
Actually, I'd prefer you put my cell phone there. That way they have quicker access, and on Sundays. So that's 407-747-9065.
Perfect. Well, everybody, I really appreciate you joining us today. If you have any questions at all, please get in touch with Alicia. And if you have difficulties running into property managers, you're welcome to call us. I'll give you my opinion. I've always said, as a loan officer, I can act with one hat on, and the other hat's my investor hat. I'm just only going to give you my opinion. I appreciate your time today. And if you would be so kind as to subscribe down there on the bottom right-hand corner, we certainly would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Thank you.